another military section video. Obviously I'm your host BOSSAGE, and this is my channel. So this is another military news update. Last one was on the 3rd. This one, I believe everything is within the last 48 hours, so it's real up-to-date news. This one actually does have something to, regarding Russia, and that's what we're going to kick off with now. So this article I found interesting. As soon as I saw the title, because it's called "Who Wins, Russia's Battleship or American Zumwalt?" So if any of you guys don't know, this article is actually referring to a Russian battlecruiser. Although in this article it uses the term battleship, battlecruiser. As we're all aware, battleships aren't built for speed, they're built for offensive and defensive capabilities. Nobody really uses them anymore, just because they were proven ineffective during World War II. It's just basically because, like I said, battleships are huge ships, and it's a bit like throwing a massive stone across the lake and hoping you hit your enemy on the other side. And this is where aircraft carriers came to really shine, because obviously you could send your aircraft in and attack with more precision than just keep firing as you would from a battleship. A battle cruiser takes the ability of having the offensive and defensive ability of a battleship, sacrifices some of that, but then having the speed of a cruiser, but it's still as well as armed as a battleship. So with that, this article goes on to say, you'll have to bear with me actually, because this article, whoever's done it is editing wise they've messed up, because you can see some of the web page code. So this article says, with the Kurov class battle cruisers, I hope I haven't butchered the name, if one of them went up against a Zumwalt class guided missile destroyer of the US Navy, who would win? Now, the Zumwalt class destroyers were a disaster really, because they had so much hope on them. They were designed as a multi-mission stealth ship focused on land attack, but the weapon that was designed for it, they're not having, because not only is it expensive, but the ammunition is expensive, incredibly expensive. It's not cost effective. So the whole process of the Zumwalt was just expense after expense. So there were meant to be 32 built of them, and there's only 3 completed, with 2 in active service. So, but if you're wanting to know more about that class of ship, please drop a comment and I will do a video on there. Just like anything, if you want information on anything regarding any of my sections, whether it's my aquarium, fish keeping, if you want to request anything, a particular species of fish, or with the military, any particular event in history, I'm more than happy to do a video on that. Requested videos do get priority unless I'm doing a video and it's the anniversary of it, so like I've got planned to do a video of the Battle of Midway, so coming up to the anniversary of that, if I haven't done that video is going to take priority. Just another quick thing to slip in. If you enjoy the content, please smash that notification bell. Please subscribe. All your support is greatly received. Moving back to the Battlecruiser versus the Zumwalt class, I think the Zumwalt would win personally, but please drop your opinions in the comments section. Love to hear what you think. But yeah, the main question here is, what if the two ships met in combat? Next on the agenda, if you like, is China. So, as I stated in my last video on the 3rd of the 9th, mentioned the new maritime rule that China has enforced in their waters, so not only the South China Sea, but the China Sea and the Taiwan Strait. They have now made it law that any ship, no matter if it's commercial or military, needs to submit. They have to submit and give all their details. So it don't matter if you're a submarine, China is expecting you to radio in and saying, this is say the HMSQUEENELIZABETH, which is one of the Royal Navy submarines, and we're going to Guam and we're expected there at so and so time on Thursday. That's what China wants. America has already stated they are not going to bow to this rule. So, and I don't think anybody else is. I mean, going back to the submarine, submarines in definition are meant and are designed to go anywhere at any time undetected as they please. So none of the world's navies are going to sail through there and go, yeah, we spent all this money on this submarine, designing it, outfitting it, and that, so it'll be virtually impossible to detect, but we're going to tell you where it is when we come in your waters and expect you to keep its location and its details quiet. No. But yeah, on the flip side, where it comes to commercial vessels, China's wanting to know what the cargo vessels, what they're carrying, how much of it they're carrying, where's it come from, where's it going, where's your next port call, when you're going to arrive there, all that information. so it's just not going to happen. This video, I've only watched a minute of it, because, no offence intended, but he's from a different country, and due to his accent and the speed at which he talks, I can't understand him. Although I've read the title, and the title speaks volumes. He doesn't actually even have to speak a word, this guy, because the title literally is China's New Maritime Rules for Foreign Ships in South China Sea and its impact on global trade and peace. Well, I can tell you now, peace is off out the window. And global trade is just gonna, it will be affected, it'll be slowed down, it'll be disrupted. Shit's gonna hit fan with it. Please tell me what you guys think. But yeah, China, as I always keep saying, are wanting a dispute. Everything points to them wanting a dispute, and it would not surprise me if they link up with Russia and North Korea. And try something, because China could say, right, Russia, if we extend that rule through your waters, Russia, become allies, we can control all that waterway. Same with North Korea, you've got all that waterway under strict maritime rule, which is going to cause major disruption in that area of the world. But yeah, I'm not going to hang about too much on that, because I do keep doing videos on that. The next bit of news regarding China just emphasises the fact they're wanting to heighten intentions. It says, this is the headline, Taiwan says 19 Chinese warplanes entered air defence zone. So this was yesterday, this news. So the mission involved 10 J-16, 4 Su-30 fighters, as well as 4 H-6 bombers and an anti-submarine aircraft. So Taiwan has said a large incursion of Chinese military jets flew into its air defence zone on Sunday. The Defence Ministry said 19 defence, including fighters and nuclear capable bombers, entered its so-called air defence identification zone. Taipei has been complaining for more than a year about repeated missions by China's Air Force near the island. Hopefully I've pronounced that right. It's T-A-I-P-E-I. Taipei. China sees Democratic Taiwan as a breakaway province, but Taiwan obviously sees itself as a sovereign state. Taiwan's Defence Ministry stated that the aircraft that flew over involved H-6 bombers, which can carry nuclear weapons as well as anti-submarine aircraft. So if none of you guys know, an air defence identification zone is an area outside of a country's territory, national airspace, but where foreign aircraft are still monitored, identified and controlled in the interest of national security. It is self-declared and technically means international airspace. It is it's self-declared and it technically means international airspace. The Defence Ministry released a map showing a flight path northeast of Pratas, closer to the Chinese coast than the Taiwan's coast. but missile systems were deployed and combat aircraft dispatched to warn away the Chinese planes. Taiwan has said China hasn't officially commented, but I mean they're not out because I know they're in the wrong. Beijing often launches such missions, as we all know, to express displeasure at comments made by Taiwan. But the thing is, if China wasn't doing what it was doing, Taiwan wouldn't be making the comments. So it's in a full circle. If China wasn't irritating Taiwan, Taiwan wouldn't be making the comments, and then China wouldn't be doing these missions to show displeasure. And then obviously Taiwan wouldn't have to send up jets and activate missile systems as a precautionary measure. But in June, China did send 28 military jets into the air defense identification zone, which is the largest incursion reported by Taiwan to date, and there's numerous reports of China doing stuff like this. This website has clearly said it's not clear what prompted the latest mission. I think we all know what prompted it. It's China being China, trying to project its power, trying to project more power than it actually has. I mean, Taiwan's defense ministry warned that China's armed forces could paralyze Taiwan's defenses, and that Chinese threat is growing. And to be fair, I absolutely agree with Taiwan. China is being a pain in the backside, not just for Taiwan, but for everybody in that region, and not just countries in that region. Pretty much everybody, apart from the other suspects such as Russia and North Korea. But yeah. So, moving on, we've dealt with Russia and China. I did think this wasn't going to take as long as the last one. Just going to look at the time. Right. So, this article actually, it only came up on my phone the other day, but it's actually an old one, so I'm not going to say it. It's just about F-35s on in beast mode for the first time on HMS Queen Elizabeth. So this article is dated, like I say, on October the 24th, 2019. So it is an old one. So I obviously haven't noticed that Google has put it in my news feed, just because obviously it's noticed a pattern that pretty much 9 out of 10 articles that I've requested to see on my news feed are to do with the military. But yeah, if people don't know what beast mode is on an F-35, all the variants of an F-35 Lightning do have this capability, and basically it's just what it's not like really official thing, but F-35s can carry weapons internally, but then they can also have weapons externally. If they just carry them internally, they're much more stealth capable, because obviously they haven't got all these weapons hanging from the wings and that, and they haven't got the joints or whatever I don't know the correct terms, the attachments to connect the weapons to. You've just got basically the plane and then you've got the internal weapon stars. Beast mode is where the plane is carrying everything it could possibly carry. So 22,000 pounds of destructive and defensive power. So just put that in perspective. So when an F-35 is fully loaded, it's known as beast mode by crews because of the firepower it delivers. So to put that in, like I said, perspective, that's 3 times as more than a Harrier jet and twice as much as a World War II Lancaster heavy bomber. So the Lancaster bombers are the ones that blew up the Tirpitz battleship, that blew up the dams in Germany on the Dam Buster raid. These are, when it's fully loaded, it has twice as much destructive power. But obviously when this article refers to the Lancaster heavy bomber, it just means when it's fully loaded. Not with the tall boy bombs or any of the bouncing bombs or any of the special bombs that Bart's Wallace designed. Just regular standard bombs that were used regular. So, but that's still a hell of a lot. And to say an F-35 is quite a bit smaller than a Lancaster bomber, it really just goes to show size doesn't matter. So that is, like I said, old article, but it's not all of you will have known that. I had forgotten about it, in all fairness. Right, so this next article was done actually today, and it's titled "How many Type 23 frigates are operational?" So this was a question that was asked in Parliament, and it was asked by a member of Parliament for Bournemouth and East Commons, asked via a parliamentary written question. He was asking the Secretary of State for Defence if he had published details of A, the Type 23 frigates in service with the Royal Navy, and B, the current status of those frigates in relation to A, operational viability, B, training, and C, maintenance. So originally there was 13, but Monmouth and Monroe's Monmouth has been cut from the fleet. So Monmouth, Montrose cut from the fleet, stripped of all weaponry. So yeah, gone from 13 to to 11. It's because apparently the Royal Navy will focus on investment on improving the sustainability, lethality and availability of the fleet. So the senior UK Defence General Marmot's left the fleet, and Montrose is going to leave later on this year. So yeah. And it's basically to fund other projects, but it's alright doing this now. I've read this in this article. It's a theme that the Royal Navy keep doing, and it's not to lay the blame at the Royal Navy, it's to do with the government. They always have to, because they don't have enough money, always have to move things to the next financial year. So they decommission things when they need to be decommissioned, but due to lack of money and funding, there's obviously a black hole, that there's a void in like capability. So this article was published yesterday, and it's Britain has 2 carriers at sea currently with F-35 jets. HMS Prince of Wales departed Portsmouth earlier this week, whilst HMS Queen Elizabeth is on global deployment with Carrier Strike Group 21. So it's just amazing. There's not much really to say about this article, because it just goes on to repeat about HMS Queen Elizabeth and what I've said and read from articles in previous videos about where HMS Queen Elizabeth is, where she's going, what she's doing, what other vessels she's with. But yeah. So yeah, HMS Prince of Wales left Portsmouth to perform training with F-35 Lightning jets and to undertake the vessel's first largest military exercise in UK, joint warrior off the Scottish coast. And then finally, HMS Tar and HMS Bay left Portsmouth together to head to the Indo-Pacific region, but it's already stated these ships were going to meet up with HMS Queen Elizabeth. It was previously announced and planned, but they're not going to be in time now to meet the Carrier Strike Group. And it also does state here that the ships aren't there they're more of a diplomatic basis. And not for any other reason. So it's classed as soft power projection. This is what I was just trying to find, because this is what I was reading and found it interesting. And this is what my video about these ships was really focused on. It's the offshore patrol vessels. So apparently the reasoning behind the deployment of these vessels has been the subject of considerable misunderstanding and controversy. They're armed with a 30mm gun and other light defensive weaponry, and are neither capable of nor intended to affect the military balance in the region. Trade and diplomatic engagement is their primary mission, with maritime security and constabulary work the secondary task. So this is what I said, why not retire a couple of the Type 23 frigates instead of building these offshore patrol vessels, and use the money that was to be used to be built these and plough that in for the Type 23 frigate replacements. So it's yeah, I just don't get these ships whatsoever. Like I say, if anybody wants any more information on these vessels, please let me know. It just goes on further saying general surveillance, counter-terrorism and counter-narcotics. But they're painted in World War II camouflage schemes. So you've got a vessel there that they've already stated aren't meant for high defensive situations, but you give them a colour scheme that was given to battle cruisers, battleships, cruisers, destroyers, frigates, all big ships that were used to change the outcomes of battles during World War II, and you're giving them to these ships. But hey ho, hey ho. The last article we're going to leave with is to do with the US Navy. US Navy expands expeditionary medical capabilities with 2 EPFs. So EPF stands for Expeditionary Fast Transport. So these are medical ship concept intended to replace the current and aging USNS Mercy and USNS Comfort, as both of them ships were converted from oil tankers into hospital ships, and they're about 35-year-olds. And in fact, these ships do look really, really nice. So they can reach speeds of up to like 40 knots. They are stunning looking ships, to be fair. I'm just and they are quite massive. I'm just trying to look for like Wikipedia to give you some more information to do these. So where this article only came out, it seems a bit confusing here because it said the 5th of September 2021 this article came out, but the ships, so it's expanding it with 2 medical, it's expanding its capability with 2 So the building planned is 15. Currently building 2, completed 12, and active 12. So they can reach speeds of between 35 and 45 knots, which is between 40 and 52 miles per hour. They've only got machine guns on, but bear in mind, they do look like an all-purpose. Just look amazing. They can carry a Super Stallion helicopter. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I've seen a picture of Osprey land on one of these. But yeah, if you're interested in that, sorry I get carried away, I get distracted, but yeah, these you're just looking at it, it means that 2 extra ones were ordered. So yeah, so, but this is, I'm not being funny, this is what like the Royal Navy should be doing, it's what England should be doing. It had 2 hospital ships, did the US, and it's replaced them with 15. It's, yeah, I know it hasn't, we don't have the funding like America does, and these hospital ships don't have the weaponry and that, but they're not going to be cheap. They're full of hospital equipment. So anyway, so enough of that. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please smash that notification bell, hit the like button, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget, if you want any videos doing, I am trying to shoot them out as quick as I can, and fulfill requests. But thank you for joining me. I've been your host, BOSSAGE, and I look forward to seeing you next time.